This is recording. So Emma's going to do a presentation, and then we'll have some time for some questions. You can use the chat box, or you can unmute yourself when she's asking questions as well. So I'll hand it over to you, Emma. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. So for those of you that don't know Maz, the very experienced dental nurse, and is now the director of the Dental Nurse Network. So I can see some of your lovely faces. Thank you all so much for joining in on tonight's webinar. Really exciting to have you here with us. And thank you very much, Maz, for hosting this evening's webinar as well. So my name is Emma. I am a dental nurse and the director of Diamond Dental Staff. So before we really get into it, I just want to do a brief intro. So that's not me on the right. Obviously, my beard is a bit more controlled than that. That's Luke. Luke is our recruitment consultant, and he is also he's like a brother from another mother. And just to be really cute, here's a picture of us as babies. So Luke joined me in June 2018, and he is your go-to guy for any interviews, or he speaks with clients and candidates, and together we're part of the dream team that helps our clients find dental professionals and a massive part of the dental Diamond Dental Staff community. So a little bit about us as an intro. So our mission is just to build a well-supported community for dental professionals, and we do this in many different ways, in that we offer some interview techniques, we provide workshops and training to dental practices, as well as one-to-ones as well, and this is a lovely class that we presented to at King's College Hospital. So some things that you might be interested in on other things that we're hosting is on Monday evenings we're joining the Dental Nurse Network for a support call. And you are all more than welcome to join that. That's to discuss things around COVID-19 and to update you on anything that we think that you need to be aware of, but also to answer some of your questions as well around the topic. And then tomorrow morning, so Friday mornings at 10 o'clock, we are hosting a virtual coffee club. So you're all welcome to come along to that as well, and that's more relaxed, friendly chit chat. So you have someone else to talk to other than whoever's in your homes, and it's just a nice way to introduce yourselves to other dental colleagues or our dental community. I'll just skip through this. So we do this for recruitment and lunch and learns, as workshops and different things. That's a little bit about us. So now let's go on to mindset. Just bear with me just one moment, guys. Just one moment.
While Emma's doing that, just tell us a little bit about yourselves. It'd be great to hear from you. So you can either use the chat box and just sort of, tell us, are you a dental nurse? Are you a dentist? What you're doing at the moment? That'd be great if you want to use the chat box on the side there.
I recognise some of those faces that are that have joined tonight. So thank you guys for joining. Really lovely to see you. I'll be a moment. Okay, guys. So can everyone see my screen okay?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. So I want you guys to take a look at this image, and if you can comment or maybe shout out what you see in this picture, If you see an elderly lady, maybe comment in the comments box. Or can you see a young lady? Okay, so Hilary can see a young lady. Can everyone else see a young lady?
I can see a young lady.
Okay, can anyone see an elderly lady?
No, I can't.
I can, but I've already seen this picture.
Yeah.
So,
I thought you might. Okay. Anyone? Can anyone? Oh, okay. Hilary can see an elderly lady. That's great. Okay. So Elsie's saying that she's seen this before. She still can't see the elderly lady. Okay, I'm going to show you. Can you guys see my mouse? Okay. Okay, so here's the young lady. She has her hair up here. She has a feather in her hair. This is her eye, her nose, her cheekbones.
Young lady.
Right? Can you see it? And then this is her necklace and her chest, and she's wearing a fluffy coat.
Can you
That's
see?
her hair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can you
everyone.
see old lady?
What in her hair?
Yes, yes.
In her hair.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we'll have a look at it again. But now this is still the hair, but this is a scarf. And then this is a big nose. She's grown into that nose, luckily. And then we have her mouth here and her chin. And this is an eye. Can you all see that now?
it's not showing your mouse. It doesn't. I can't see it. No, I can't see it.
Right. The whole point of this image is that there's actually two. It's a two in one. So there's a young woman and an old lady there, and we're looking at the same thing, but often we see things differently. And I think it's so important when you're working in a team environment, or if it's a clinician or a dental nurse or receptionist or whoever it is, we're all there to work as a team, and our own experiences or our own outlook could change the way that we perceive the world or change the way that we interpret a certain situation. Okay, so Isis can now see the old lady. I'll leave it up for a little bit. But this is a really good quote that sort of stuck out to me by Tony Robbins, and it's to effectively communicate. We must realize that we are all different in the way that we perceive the world and use this understanding as a guide to our communication with others. And I just couldn't agree more. So that's a nice starting point for today's webinar. Okay, so we're going to look a little bit into mindset. Now, has anyone heard of mindset before? I'll tell you a little bit about it. So there's loads of different mindsets, but we're going to focus on two. So mindset is a belief that orients the way that we handle situations, the way we sort out what's going on and what we should do. Our mindset help us to spot opportunities, but they can also trap us into self-defeating cycles. So we're going to look at different characteristics for each. A fixed mental attitude or disposition that predetermines a person's response to and interpretations of situations. And again, going back to that image that we just looked at, that's exactly what that sort of defines. So your mindset could be influenced by your outlook, and these are all like our autopilot thoughts, our personality, so personality traits, our understanding of things, our attitude towards certain things, and what challenges we face or what challenges we faced before to then influence our mindset, and experiences of all those things. Also, it might be that it's not just our mindset, it's not just experiences that we've had. It might be that we learn things from other experience that our colleagues or that our friends have had as well. Let's have a look. Okay, so Fixed mindset and growth mindsets are the two mindsets that we're going to focus on. So a fixed mindset would be one that avoids challenges, that ignores criticism, that gives up easily, and feels that, like, why should I bother? So a growth mindset embraces challenges, learns from feedback, applies more effort, and feels inspired by others, whereas, you know, a fixed mindset might feel slightly threatened by others, or take that as a reason to give up. So let's have a look at how that might look in certain dialogue or certain thought processes. So a growth mindset will see failure as an opportunity to grow and develop, whereas a fixed mindset will see that you're limited to what your thought process is. Or so an example of this is, if you think about something, as I flick through these examples, if you think about something in your life that you really, really want to do, and just give you a minute to maybe think of a couple of things that, you know, you'd like to achieve, and then while you're thinking about that goal or that, you know, that dream that you have, I want you to consciously think about what thoughts are coming into your head. Like, what stops you, or what has stopped you for just going for it? Because often that comes down to our mindset, and it's a default mode network that is already, like, embedded in us, in that these thinking patterns then have a massive hold over our actions. So if we think that sometimes, so one of our in our planning session the other day was talking about the imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is feeling like you are not good enough to be in a certain role, or you feel like why should you, what makes you different to someone else? But actually that is a fixed mindset. Now a growth mindset would be, like, an example to share with you is like Ford. So I think Ford were like the first person to develop cars. Might be wrong, but just as an example. But then BMW didn't come along and say, I'm not going to make a car because that guy's already developed a car. Or Mercedes didn't come along and think, oh, we've already got BMW, or Jaguar, and then all the other different cars, Cadillac. The thing is, there's opportunity there, and they all have different branding and different audiences as well. But they didn't stop the dreams of, you know, producing these cars because someone else was doing it. So shifting our focus away from the negative towards the positive, and we can free ourselves from some of the debilitating thoughts and feelings linked with ill health. Again, so mindset is more than just can do, can't do. It opens up our understanding on so many different things that life throws at us, and it gives us, like, really with this, it's just having a mindset reset, in that if we know that we are responding to a certain situation or certain opportunity negatively, it's just taking the responsibility to taking a minute to just conscientiously think about our thinking patterns, and try to associate our thoughts with a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. And I guess it comes down to reflection, self-reflection. Okay, so let's have a look at what challenges we face, because this is really important. So imagine now that the patient's medical history is always in the back of our mind, right? We want to keep our patients safe. And then we've got a team, and then we've got time pressures, we might be running behind, and then we've got demands of, it could be whatever, it could be that we're running low on instruments, it could be that someone's just nipped in to borrow our light cure and actually we need it because we're doing a composite. Whatever example you want to fit in there, I'm sure that you'll have your own. But actually, when we look at that, that's only 20%. So 20% plus 20%, that actually they all add up. And actually, all of those things combined together it reaches a peak, and then it just can be a bit too much. So imagine all these different contributing factors, and actually that could be quite a stressful day, all added up together. So the best thing that we can do to try and avoid feeling overwhelmed by all those things is by having the right mindset. But sometimes it's difficult. I'm not saying that every time you need to you should be working towards a growth mindset, because the point is it's a mindset reset. So if you are feeling a certain way, just take that time to have that self-reflection, so you can not feel like this, and try and feel a little bit more in control of your thoughts and how you manage that situation, or what opportunities you see from the challenges that we're facing. So we'll look at those again, but now we'll look at them aside our fixed mindset and the growth mindsets. Now, the fixed mindset and growth mindset had been shared by Carol Dweck, and she has a book called Mindset. So if anyone wants to have a look privately, then you'd be able to do your research and find that. So fixed mindsets avoids challenges and ignores criticism, gives up, people feel like they give up easily and feel like, why should they bother? Whereas a growth mindset, again, looking at those things, embracing challenges, learning from the feedback, applying more effort, and being inspired by others. So we've got the potato and egg example, in that if you drop a potato on the floor, it's going to bounce. If you drop an egg on the floor, it's going to crack and there's going to be egg everywhere. But if you put an egg in boiling water, and then, you know, the same water that will harden the egg will soften the potato. So this is where character comes into it, because, you know, we all handle things very differently. We've all got our strengths and we've all got our weaknesses. And with that, we've got Orbed. So it's almost like not shifting the blame, but it's like what characteristics you take accountability for. So I've defined 2 arrows, and I think you'd agree that actually you can see which characteristics or which behavioural traits fit within each mindset. So we've got taking ownership, taking accountability and responsibility as a growth mindset, but actually passing the blame, making excuses, and not being receptive to any feedback that's shared with you in that denial, that would come under the fixed mindset. So most people do not listen with the intent to understand. Most people listen with the intent to reply. I think we can all be guilty of this, and I think when we are when we're concentrating on something, it's very easy to just reply for the sake of replying, rather than actually listening to what maybe our colleagues are saying, or what I hope to not think what our patients are telling us, but I think we have to listen very, very carefully, because, you know, not to make things confrontational at all, but sometimes people avoid certain conversations because they want to avoid the confrontation. So it's just being mindful and understanding on the message that they're trying to deliver to us. It might be like an anxious patient doesn't want to be seen as being a difficult patient. So actually we just have to listen very carefully to not just the words they use, but also like their body language and how they're behaving towards, how receptive they are towards the treatment that we're offering them in the dental setting. Okay, so managing your inner critic. So a few different examples here, but these are what I find really help me. So developing awareness of your thoughts, and this comes down to the mindset reset, in that certain situations may occur and it's hard for it not to, you know, you have an emotional response to something, you have a bad day at work, you're bound to take that home, and you know it's so easy to let that throw your day completely out the pot. When I used to commute to London every day, I used to get particularly stressed when my trains were delayed, because I knew that I was going to be late for work. And sometimes it was so out of my control in that I was getting the earlier train and that was delayed, and then because that one was delayed, there was more people on the platform, I couldn't get onto the next train. And it was really, really stressful. I'd get to work, I'd be on time, but me being on time, for me, I feel like that's late. If I'm not early, I'm late. And it was really difficult for then me not to be in a fluster for the rest of the day. But actually, I think learning how to develop awareness of your thoughts and those situations as well, you can just accept things for as they are, and then you can move on. So recognize common thinking errors. Stop overthinking, don't dwell, analyze the situation, accept it for what it is, and then try and move on. And see the situation from a different perspective. Now, I believe each mindset is a complete different perspective in itself. Examine the evidence and balance acceptance with self-improvement. And then we have our own ways of coping, dealing with different things. Some like reading, some like yoga, some like going to the gym. If like me, I'm into my gin. I feel like being at home, probably getting through a little bit too much gin. But we all have our own ways of just having some wind down time and trying to find the balance, I guess. So Albert Einstein said that we can't solve the same problems by using the same kind of thinking that we used when we created them. And I think this is another classic example of your mindset, because words are very important. And when we work as a team, you know, we're stressed, it's very easy to have a knee-jerk reaction sometimes and act too quickly. But I think if we sometimes take a step back, analyze the situation, really think about it rather than having a knee-jerk reaction, we'll probably get a much better result than what we would if we were to act too quickly or too soon. So last week we had a planning session and I shared a SWOT analysis. If anyone would like a copy of this, please leave a comment in the notes, because we can share it over to you. We have a free download available. But this is a really great tool to use to look at strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and our threats as well. And now these are all really intertwined. So when we think about our strengths, we think about what we're good at. It could be personally, it could be professionally. Our strengths, to identify your strengths is to, you know, be within the growth mindset. But also with weaknesses, that doesn't need to be you don't need to look at your weaknesses and think within a fixed mindset, because we need to identify our weaknesses and then we need to see it as an opportunity to develop. We need to understand what our limitations are. Our limitations might be in our own minds, in our own heads, our own like confidence levels. But if we can address that and identify that it's negative thinking patterns, then that's going to make all the difference. Opportunities. So again, opportunities will then fall under the growth mindset, and it will let us identify what we can improve on, what training and development opportunities are there. And again, this doesn't necessarily have to be work related. This could be your own goals. If you want to open a restaurant or you want to open a coffee bar or whatever it is you want to do. I think sometimes if we see things as the big project, that can put us off from ever going for it. But if we break it down into bite-sized chunks, it might be that if we have that dream, or if we want to achieve a certain goal, start thinking about, okay, what do I need to do now to understand, or like research could be one thing. Naturally, if you break it down, each time you've completed that element or that chapter of, you know, closing that book, naturally it will lead you on to the next thing. But it's a lot kinder on your mind to break it down rather than see it as one big massive challenge. So break those challenges down, reset your mindset, for each individual module, say, and then work on your own way of achieving them or overcoming them. Okay, so staying fully charged. So I think at this time as well, and as well at work, in any situation, it's so important to make sure that you're taking the responsibility to look after yourself. And I think if we overdo it, then you're going to burn out. You can't maintain. It's just not sustainable. So just try and find the right happy medium, because it would be a lot kinder to yourself, far more sustainable in achieving any target that you set yourself. And it all comes down to balance. I find that if you're off balance at work, then often you're off balance at home, and vice versa. So I think it's really important to find the in between that's there, and that's pretty much it. I think the main point of this is just identifying what the two mindsets are, and then trying to encourage you to just reflect on your thoughts, try and recognize any negative thinking patterns, and try and then see the situation on both the fixed mindset, and then have a look at it as under the growth mindset, and see how contrasting those thought patterns can be. I think if you start adopting to a growth mindset, and it's going to take it takes quite a bit of maintenance. It's a process. It's not like a one-time thing. It's something that you need to work on and bring yourself back to as often as possible. Some people like to keep a little diary. But otherwise, it's just mostly self-reflection as well. So I hope you've liked that very brief introduction. I've tried to keep the time down on the webinar. Normally this is a workshop, and it can go on a bit, but as an intro into mindset, I hope you enjoyed it. Be interested to hear your thoughts.
Thanks for that, Emma. You can probably stop sharing your screen if you wanted to. Wonderful. Has anyone got any thoughts about that? Do you know if you're a growth mindset or a fixed mindset?
That's not a trick question either, guys, because I think an honest answer is to say that we're both, because there's times where we really go at it on the growth mindset, and we might have a bit of a knock, and then we might go back into a fixed mindset, and it might throw us off balance slightly, and that's only natural. But yeah, I mean, the point of this is just to remind you to sort of get back on track again, and try to see things through the growth mindset. Because when you do work through the fixed mindset, you're limiting yourself. So much to discuss this more. So if anyone does want to go through mindset, or if anyone wants me to send through any books or any further reading, then just give me a shout, and I can send them over to you. Let's see what some of your responses are on the chat box. Opal says that she's got a growth mindset majority of the time. Opal, I know you personally, and I would definitely agree with you.
I think I'm both.
Is that Selena?
Yes, it is. Hi.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine. You?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. You're both. Very honest answer. What would you say you sway towards more so?
I would say the growth mindset.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think we all have. And actually, so Selena, for everyone that's listening, Selena's a very experienced dental nurse that's done her dental radiography as well, and done loads of different courses. And actually, I think naturally for you to have that motivation to progress in your career and take on these additional courses, then absolutely you would be working on a growth mindset.
Thank you.
Thanks, Selena. Thank you for all your comments as well and for all your input. Did you all like the image of the young lady, old lady?
Yes.
Yeah, I did like it, but
Definitely.
I still couldn't. Sorry. I did like it, but I still couldn't see the old lady. I couldn't see your mouse.
I'll post it, and maybe I'll draw around the old lady as well to see.
Okay, thank you.
And actually, when we do this as a presentation, and there's like a classroom there, it's so funny to see everyone's reaction, because everyone's like, the old lady's there, the young lady's there. It's funny that we're all working within the same teams and we all see things differently. It's a nice reminder that teamwork is, you know, it makes us all stronger in when we talk and we discuss it and we share what we see, because then we're all learning from each other as well. It's great.
Okay. Hi guys.
Hello.
Hi, can you see me? Hi, my name is Dr. Afan. I've been listening to your presentation as well. I thought you're a fantastic presenter. So well done.
Thank you.
I learned a lot, actually, and I think a lot of dentists should have tuned in as well. So yeah, I think, so who's the audience here? Are they all dental nurses, or what's going on?
I think it's a nice mix. We've got therapists, we've got dental nurses,
Hi,
we've
everyone.
got
Hi.
educators, radiographers.
Okay, I think the messages that you gave were fantastic, and there should be a lot more. Well, I speak for dentists. Sometimes we kind of forget that there's other people out there, so we should work as a team. And I think that everything that you was talking about today was showing that there's different personality types. And what I found, for example, my dental nurse is called Jade. She hates public speaking with a passion. In fact, I think she hates any kind of speaking. So even when I'm in the dental chair and I'm like, Jade, do you want to say something? And she just goes bright red. But because I know that, I've started to kind of use little techniques to kind of get her to speak and to calmly talk about things. And I think if there's any dentists watching, please, please, please help your dental nurses progress. You know, my dental nurses mean the world to me. So I kind of give them everything they need. So if they need that positive support or just pushing in the right direction, that's what we need to be doing for these guys. So that's just me from a dentist perspective. I don't know how many dentists are actually on here. But yeah, you guys are amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
It's nice. How did you hear about the call?
I think someone actually messaged me on Instagram, and there's so many webinars and things going on, but I just thought it would be nice to drop in and just give you guys, you know, a quick few minutes just to say thank you.
Well,
because
thank you so much.
No, so thank you. I've learned a lot. You're like a Tony Robbins in the dental world now, clearly. I think so anyway. So why would we pay £1,000 to go and hear him when we just
I know.
literally? And you've got stunning hair and everything as well. Right.
That's very sweet. And it's really lovely to hear how supportive you are of your team as well. And actually, that used to be me. I used to be very shy. Public speaking would really freak me out. But I sort of recognised that if I wanted to get anywhere, then I would need to just get over myself, because actually it's a really nice message to share. It is really useful, and I do feel that other people will benefit from it. So I think if you have something that's worth sharing as well, then that's some inspiration as to face your fears and do it anyway, I guess.
Right. So that's me tuning out. Thank you very much.
Okay. Nice for you to join us.
Bye-bye. Bye.
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 Great stuff. Has anyone, just out of interest, has anyone done a workshop like this before? Would you be interested in having this in your practice? What are your overall thoughts?
I've never done it before, but it's really good. Yeah, I think it would be good to have. Can you still hear me? Because I'm not sure. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think it's really good.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, Emma, it's very informative, definitely. Once this whole COVID-19 thing's all over and I start working, I'll definitely suggest that you come in.
I'd love to, Opal. That'd be brilliant.
Yeah,
That'd be really brilliant. So I think we have, I think Maz had mentioned that we recorded the call. So depending on the quality of it, then we can share it as well. But definitely, that's the plan. I mean, we miss being able to visit our clients and visiting our dental colleagues in the practices. So when this is all over, then we would love to see you in person and share some cake. Tomorrow's our coffee morning, our virtual coffee morning. So it's very relaxed, very chilled. You're all very, very welcome to come along and have a cup of coffee with us.
Okay.
Yeah. 10 o'clock.
Emma, have you seen the question that Opal put there about, I sometimes find my inner critic the hardest to deal with. Any suggestions? I've got suggestions, but I just want to know what your suggestions are.
Maz, over to you.
So that's kind of a journey that's been quite important to me, because I just think if you don't deal with that inner critic, it really affects your life. Basically, it can affect everything. I personally found journaling a way that I do that, and also like catching myself out, like, oh, hang on, would you say that to someone else? Like often the things we say to ourselves we'll never say to anyone else, so personally journaling's work for me, and just like also I think about like positive things as well. I'm quite like, I don't let my mind just kind of wander here, there and everywhere. I'm quite like, no, I'm going to think about this now. So you have to be quite intentional. That's personally how I've dealt with it. I don't know about you, Emma.
Absolutely. And like I said, a really honest answer would be to say that we all operate from fixed to growth mindsets. And the difference with me was, before I knew this was a thing, I always knew that I always tried to be positive and optimistic and tried to see the good in everything naturally anyway, but actually in understanding how much of a either positive or negative effect my thought process could be, now it's like I'm constantly resetting my mindset. I'm constantly analyzing my thoughts, but just being really true to myself and listening to my thought patterns. And then when I said earlier, like about getting over myself about public speaking, because I recognize that is going to limit me from doing things that I want to do. So that I feel is like a really strong example of how a fixed mindset can be in your limitation. And Opal, who's just graduated as a dental hygienist therapist, if you were to have a fixed mindset, an example would be that you wouldn't have gone for it because you wouldn't have felt capable of passing the exams or done it, and you smashed it, and we're all really proud of you. So well done.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Welcome.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think that's the main point.
Thank you. I like the journaling idea, so I'll definitely pick that up.
It's quite a good way to just kind of listen to what you're thinking as well. I find that helpful, journaling personally. It's different for some people. Might draw, they might do all sorts of different things, but whatever works for you, really.
I'll have a go and see. Definitely. Thank you very much.
It's almost like a pros and cons list, isn't it? It's just and maybe rather than having it as a pro and cons, have it as opportunity versus limitations, because I think that will highlight puts an essence on what it is that will try and encourage your path, I suppose.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Opal. Thank you. Okay. You've got Catherine, Hilary, Isis, Elsa, thank you so much for your comments. Our partner as well. Galaxy M30S, I'm not sure who you are. Does anyone know? Okay, but thank you all so much. And if there's anything else, You can reach out to Diamond Dental Staff or the Dental Nurse Network on our social media channels. We'll be really, really happy to hear from you.
Okay, I think we can close up now, can't we? If
Okay.
there's no other questions.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for those who joined and who participated as well. It's really helps when we have people participate as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks so much to Emma as well.
Thank you both.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Emma.
Take care, guys.
Have a good evening, everyone.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.